MSW Media.
So yeah, now it's clean up on aisle 45 time. And for a long while yet, it is going to be clean up on aisle 45.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 267 of Clean Up on Aisle 45. I am back. It's Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. I'm Allison Gill.
Hey, G, what's up? Welcome back, my friend. It's Harry Dunn here. All right, boy, do we have a lot to cover today, including this new House bill that would block taxpayer money from going to January 6 rioters and the scandals plaguing Corey Lewandowski, remember that name, and Kristi Noem at DHS.
Yeah, and we're going to give you a vomit warning because it's gross. It's that story. Plus, Donald Trump is dropping his sanctions against major law firms. He's just kind of given up. And he's actually considering Ted Cruz for the Supreme Court, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We don't have any updates on Rudy and the Pillow Man, probably for the best, but there's no news about them this week. I guess he's still buying his books from his own books. But first, we have some patrons to thank. New patrons include Bernie Hogenkamp, Patricia Donlin, and Elizabeth. And our Hall of Famers, Patty B., Accidental Beans Bird Sanctuary founder, Ren Special K. Kaido, Scott Egregious, Sharon Tukolsky, skintwalletsusa.com wants your butt to look great. Use coupon code CLEANUP to get 10% off. Star Lennis, the future is not looking bright. Tiffany Trump was adopted, tricycular manslaughter, and we will survive. So thank you so much to our patrons. And Harry, thanks for covering. You and Andy and Dana and I guess Kanai covered the patron happy hour this past Thursday.
Yes. It was great. I was saying it during it, it's great to talk about news articles and just read them, but like it's hard to discuss them like amongst yourself, like when it's just you. So like a lot of times when I like bounce stuff off of you, you bounce stuff off of me, we just talk about it. We can talk about it, but it's hard to have a discussion with yourself. So it's definitely a challenge, but it's great, and that make me appreciate your partnership even more and your expertise and brilliance that you bring to the table.
Oh, stab it. Thank you. But of course, per usual, whenever I go on vacation, something always big happens. And before we jump into the news that we went over in the beginning there, I want to talk about the illegal war that Trump has started with Iran, him and Bibi Netanyahu. As a potential future member of Congress, what does it mean to you that he's been taking power away from Congress in appropriations and all sorts of other ways, but now he's taken away the power to declare war.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what you thought about that as a candidate.
Well, first of all, a lot of people, let's address the things where they said, well, Obama did strikes and Bush did strike. That's different. It's different because they didn't have the intention of declaring war. Whereas you look at Pete Hegseth and some of his statements, he's calling it a war that they're in right now.
Obama had authorization and so did Bush, even if he lied to get it.
Exactly. Let's not forget that part. But no, Congress should have been called right back into session the day of that strike. Once it was known, the Gang of Eight, I guess, was advised, in advance. But Congress should have been called into session immediately, and that War Powers resolution, the War Powers Act, needed to be voted on to further strengthen Congress's authority as a reminder that, hey, we are the ones who declare war. Now, with this Congress as inept as it is and their lack of ability to stand up to Donald Trump and refusal to do so and to consider themselves a co-equal branch of government, what would that War Powers resolution do? I don't know with this Congress because they refuse to hold anybody associated with Donald Trump's cabinet or him accountable. But it's definitely a necessary step. And even just going back to say, hey, Congress has to reclaim their power as a co-equal branch of government.
Yeah, it's Congress and Congress alone that is authorized to go to war. And that is because the people elect the Congress members, and that's why the executive isn't supposed to do it unilaterally. But we've now lost 4 service members as of this recording. That number could go up. 5 have been seriously injured with possible traumatic brain injury, concussions, shrapnel. And it seems like White House is keeping Donald Trump away from the cameras. They put Hegseth out to answer some questions, but the constant question that it seems that they're getting is, why are you sending our young men and women, people off to die in a war? Why? Because we already know that there was no imminent threat either to the United States or to our troops in the region.
Well, isn't that one of the major conditions of the power that he has to authorize strikes? Like you have the power to do so. You do. Obama, Bush, everybody, every president has that power, but it had to be, like you just said. Isn't there a disclaimer, if you will, that says an imminent threat or an imminent strike?
Right.
What was
and our U.S. intelligence agencies are saying that they weren't close to a nuke. They don't have ICBMs that can reach the United States. There wasn't, according to a briefing to the Gang of Eight, an imminent threat to U.S. troops in the region for shorter range missiles from Iran.
Yeah.
And so they can't seem to answer the question, why are we sending, our troops? Why are we endangering the lives of our troops, especially our troops in the region?
Yeah. And isn't that one of the things that you would look for from your commander in chief to address the nation? Hey, you have to make the case to the American people. Obviously you have the authority to do it. I'm just talking about the president, the hell with Donald Trump. But the president is to address the American people and explain why you're doing this. Like that's what all presidents have done. Whether we were for it, whether we were against it, nobody's for war. Nobody should be for war. But, no matter what the political backdrop of whatever strike happened or war happened, the president's always made the case to the nation about why they did or why they are doing so. We're not getting that from this administration. And which could further lead you to believe this is more of a distraction about Epstein,
Well, yeah, that's one of the, if not the most solemn responsibility of the commander in chief is the decision to send troops into harm's way. And you usually have to make a case. You usually got to remember, even George W. Bush was tried to get a coalition of the willing.
Yeah.
It didn't go very well, but
like you said, he at least tried. You got to make the case, right?
Oh, yeah. Now, everybody, NATO, of course, when 9/11 happened, we're all behind us. But, because we were attacked in the United States by the Saudis, who have now, along with Qatar and UAE, given billions of dollars either in crypto scams or a couple $1 billion to Jared Kushner to manage money, a $400 million plane from Qatar. They've all given Trump a ton, billions and billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And, they are probably the top three, and then they add Bibi Netanyahu, who wanted to see the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, killed, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, let's make my stance 100% clear, because I've learned that as a politician, you have to make your stance 100% clear. Iran, their leader, they are not innocent. That guy, he was he oppressed Iranian people. They murdered
monster.
People. He's an absolute monster, and nobody, I don't like to speak people about being dead, but not many people are going to miss him. He's not a good person. And the oppression that he has levied on the people of Iran for years and years and years. But there's a way to go about doing it, but without an imminent threat, like it said.
This was the worst possible way to enact regime change in Iran.
Exactly. So that's what I got a problem with, and it should always be about that. This is not sympathy for an Iranian monster who was eliminated. There's no sympathy there. But This is not how you go about doing it.
No, especially without Congress in an unconstitutional manner, and especially in a way that puts our troops in harm's way when there wasn't an imminent threat.
That's what you keep on thinking. There is not an imminent threat. And that's what gives the president the authority to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's what the New Republic is reporting that we haven't gotten confirmation from any major news outlets about the girls' school that was hit in Iran. But the New Republic is reporting that apparently The Pentagon is using out-of-date maps. And so that might account for that, if that is in fact something that happened.
Well, it hasn't been it hasn't been smooth sailing. That they were saying that the fighter jets that were shot down was friendly fire. There were three American jets, and let's talk about cost. By the way, those things cost a pretty penny. I mean, upwards probably of $1 billion, maybe billions of dollars, and three of them were shot down mistakenly by friendly fire. You know,
it's not surprising though, given we're shooting our own CBP drones down here.
Exactly. So I don't, like I said, I'll never root against the United States, but this administration is making it hard to feel confident about their ability to win a war that we shouldn't even be in the first place.
Yeah. And there's no plan on how to do the second part of regime change. You go in and kill the regime guy, but then what's the plan after that? There's no plan. They have not got one, and that's imminently dangerous. And who knows how many signal chats they're using? And
I was going to say that because it's somewhere in the signal chat, Hegseth is giving all the plans away.
Like, my goodness, that's just the incompetence is already costing lives.
Yep.
Without a clear reason why. So
yeah.
Well, I know Chuck Schumer has called the Congress back to vote on a war powers resolution. There might be a vote in the House as soon as today, Wednesday, as you're hearing this. So we'll keep an eye on it. And you can get more details over on the Daily Beans pod too. All right. We got a ton of news we got to get to, Harry, but we're going to take a quick break before we kick it off. Stick around. We'll be right back. DeleteMe makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. It still shocks me how easy it is to pull up someone's personal info on the internet. Type in a name, click a couple links. Suddenly, you're looking at addresses, phone numbers, last four social security numbers, relatives, and their email addresses like it's no big deal. But it is a big deal. Data brokers make money off that stuff. They treat your data like a product. You are the product, and anyone can buy it. That can turn into identity theft, scams, phishing attempts, straight up harassment, doxing. Now, privacy matters to me because I have an active online presence, and I do not want strangers collecting details about my life for fun or for profit. And even if you have never been targeted, you probably know someone who has dealt with stalking, doxing, or a scary level of unwanted contact. Now, what these data broker sites collect, it's wild. Your name, contact info, home address, social security number, partial identifiers, even info about your family members can get bundled together and sold to the highest bidder. That is why I use DeleteMe. Wirecutter at the New York Times named DeleteMe its top pick for data removal services. And the point is simple. DeleteMe helps get your personal info off of those broker sites so it's harder to find and harder to buy. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe. Now, at a special discount for listeners, get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/cleanup and use promo code cleanup at checkout. Again, the only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/cleanup and enter code cleanup at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/cleanup, code cleanup. You'll be glad you did.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Okay, our first story today comes from our friend Scott McFarlane. Love Scott, by the way. He's a great follow. He's over at CBS. Amid a wave of lawsuits filed by pardoned January 6 riot defendants against the federal government, some House Democrats are introducing legislation Wednesday to block any further taxpayer money from being awarded to participants in the Capitol siege after at least one financial settlement.
Yeah, and we know that one. We'll talk about it in a minute. And I just want to be clear, this is a week ago Wednesday.
Yeah.
The legislation is sponsored by Rep. Deborah Ross, a North Carolina Democrat, who raised concerns at a hearing in January about the attempts by pardoned rioters to secure awards or restitution from their cases. And Harry, we've been covering these as they happen here on Cleanup. Quote, the pardons have re-traumatized the victims. That's what Ross said at a hearing last month. Ross also noted that President Trump's blanket clemency of riot defendants also absolved the attackers from having to pay restitution for the millions of dollars in damages they caused during the insurrection.
Yeah, so I am happy to be a supporter of this bill. By the way, this was in a continuation of what happened over in the Senate where Senator Padilla introduced similar legislation over there. Ross's new bill in the House will prohibit the distribution of taxpayer money for any January 6th compensation fund and ban any further refund or damage payments made by convicted Capitol rioters. We now have the Proud Boys trying to take people's tax dollars and act like they were the victims of January 6th, which we know is patently false, Ross told CBS News. We've got to make it very clear that Congress does not think these insurrectionists need to be rewarded for trying to overturn an election and for defacing property and for injuring Capitol Police officers, she said. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Agreed. Now, Ross's legislation is similar, like you said, Harry, to a separate Senate legislation introduced by Padilla, California Democrat, whose committee has oversight over U.S. Capitol Police and Capitol grounds. Now, Mark McCloskey, an attorney whose social media page says he's championing the cause of January 6th compensation, posted on his Twitter feed in August, quote, "To all the J6 political prisoners out there, I'm doing everything I can to expedite the establishment of a claims resolution procedure so we can get you back on your feet and get you some real justice. I won't stop fighting and I will never back down." So he wants to now, pay reparations to the January 6th rioters.
It's absolutely insane. The Trump administration has already approved at least one civil settlement in connection with the mob that overran the Capitol on January 6th. The Justice Department signed off on an approximately $5 million settlement to the family of Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol Police officer while she attempted and breached and smashed the windows into the House Speaker's lobby.
Yeah. Multiple investigations were conducted, internal and otherwise, and that was a good shoot.
Yeah.
At a January 6, 2026 hearing held by Democrats, members of Congress and a former Capitol riot prosecutor slammed proposals for January 6th reparations for convicted rioters. I'm glad somebody else is using that word. U.S. Capitol Police Officer Winston Pidgeon, am I saying that right?
Pidgeon, yes, yep. He's a great guy, by the way. Y'all check him out. He's on social media, I think under Winston, like watercolors or something. I'll update it, but he's a great friend and a good follow. So shout out to Winston.
Awesome. Winston Pidgeon, who responded to the riot, by the way, testified in that January 6, 2026 hearing that more than 140 police officers injured in the Capitol siege have not received a special compensation fund or reparations for their losses. Pidgeon told the panel, "I don't know if any officer who's received any kind of compensation for what they sacrificed on January 6th. A very good point, because I'm sitting here thinking I never got a compensation fund check from January 6th for trying to overturn my votes. Certainly exactly. The Capitol Police officers haven't received anything.
Yep, have not received a penny. We did get, I think, a $500 thank you bonus like a couple weeks after January 6th for all the hours we had to work, but that definitely not. Over the past year, a series of riot defendants have formally requested taxpayer-funded reimbursements of the court-ordered restitution payments and fines they paid as a part of their plea agreements or criminal sentences. Court filings reviewed by CBS News said the total damages eclipsed $3 million. An estimate produced by Congress said only 15% of those damages were actually paid before Donald Trump issued the pardons. 15% of those $3 million in damages.
Yeah, so we are not only paying January 6th guys, people who attacked the Capitol, we're also paying for the damages they caused. The legislation specifies, quote, "Notwithstanding any other provision of law, no funds should be dispersed from the United States Treasury to refund any court-ordered compensation, including restitution, fines, or special assessments, paid by any individual convicted for involvement in the attack on the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021, including any individual so convicted and subsequently pardoned." Now, Ross's legislation has already secured the support of the top House Democrats on the two committees with oversight of the matter. That's the Judiciary and the Committee on House Administration.
The House Administration Committee ranking member Joe Morrell of New York said in a statement, "Criminals who brutally assaulted law enforcement to prevent the peaceful transfer of power are not entitled to taxpayer-funded compensation." And he added that the American people's money must never be used to reward political violence, incentivize future attacks, or rewrite history. So I'm glad he made that statement. I want to read my statement that I put out. I don't know. I might have to get on Scott for not including it in the article. But I'm thankful for this legislation being proposed. On the other hand, it's a shame that it's even being proposed. Just as I thought Americans would never attempt to stop the certification of an election through violence, never would I believe that they would be rewarded for those efforts by this administration. That is my statement in support of the legislation proposed by Deborah Ross. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Yeah, it's pretty great legislation. It'll be interesting to see if first of all, if it passes. I doubt Donald Trump will sign it. But if we continue to push this legislation and get a Democrat in the White House and we sign it, it'll be interesting to see if the Supreme Court thinks it's constitutional to block these kinds of things. I have a feeling, especially if Ted Cruz is on the Supreme Court.
God, we cannot. No, Ted Cruz. Oh my!
I know.
God.
He'll make it legal for him to sue.
He sure will.
Being scared that day, even though he wants to give money to these guys. Anyway, absolutely, just heartened. I'm heartened by this legislation because, Harry, like I said, you and I from the jump have been covering every single time a judge has not allowed or allowed. Judge Boasberg recently allowed. Now it's tied up in appeals court for those folks to get their money back if they'd already paid it. Because remember, they were saying, a bunch of judges were like, it's already in the Treasury, you can't get it back.
Yeah.
But then Boasberg is like, but if you're pardoned, it does this. And so the law says this. And unfortunately, he was sad to have to do it. But he's like, unfortunately, because of what the law says, until Congress steps in and changes the law, I have to allow this restitution.
Now, it looks like,
and that is what it seems like. Ross and Padilla are answering the call of Judge Boasberg to Congress to say, you got to write the law a little bit better if you don't want these people to get money.
Absolutely.
So hopefully that's what this is. And hopefully they worded it in such a way that it cures the issue that Boasberg had in the first place in that the legal issues. And before we get to this next break, I just want to quickly ask how your campaign is going.
Yeah, no, it's going well. You know, I I didn't have, unfortunately, the head start that I did last time. When I decided to run the last time, I sat down, I talked it out with my family and friends. Whereas this time, it's kind of just like oh crap, I got to do this. And you know, I was still thinking about it. And a lot of people asked me after I ran the first, hey, would you run? Actually, they didn't ask me. They were saying, run again, run again. They were like, they're saying, you got to do it again. You got to run again. And I was, you know, I never ruled it out. But Mr. Hoyer, when he announced that he was I was like, oh crap, this is no longer a hypothetical situation. It's kind of like, you know, crap or get off the pot, you know, like we've heard that saying before.
Life
like,
comes at you pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do something. All right, what you going to do? What you going to do? And like I said, sitting on the couch watching Alex Preddy get murdered is when I decided I have to do this. So with that all said, we're about 3 weeks into the campaign, a little bit more, 3 and some change. And it's going well. You know, we're raising great money. We got a lot of support from people all across the country, which is I think an intangible that I'll be able to provide to the party, which helps me stand out a little bit more as a candidate, because I'll be able to go across the country and help elect Democrats. Whereas somebody not so name recognized, I guess, or not known, or not being a fighter like I am, won't have the same effect. Either way, I'll still be going across the country, win or lose. I'm still going to be going across the country, helping elect Democrats. That never changes, but I would love to do it as a congressman. But things are off to a great start. Remember, y'all, the election is June the 23rd. So if you're able to support, please do. Our average donation is still around $18.60. And we're over $1 million plus raised, $1 million, that is. It's so funny. Somebody said, hey, y'all raised $1 million. Great. All right. What's the goal? As much as possible. Is the goal. As much as possible. And it sucks that elections cost this much money. That sucks. And it shows a little bit of how people have exploited elections might make them all about financial gain. and it shouldn't be that way. But that's the system we live in, and I would love to be able to have a hand in changing those rules and these laws when I get elected. So
Awesome. Yeah, and I think it's just equally as important who you're not taking money from. So
exactly.
Yeah.
No corporate PAC money. My money is grassroots based, and that's what it is. People that don't have money to give, but find a way to give $5, $10, $15 to their favorite candidate. And I would love to be your favorite candidate.
Well, I've learned people power beats money. We learned it in Wisconsin.
Yep.
We've learned it in all these special elections. We've seen Republicans get trounced. We've seen it in New York in the mayoral race. So I think it's going to be good. And we all appreciate what you're doing. All right. We have
Thank you, my dear.
a really disgusting story about Corey Lewandowski and Kristi Noem, puppy killer. But we have to take a quick break first. So gird your loins. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. Deep breath. Our next story comes from the Daily Beast, and it's all about Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski. So again, vomit warning. Details of an alleged affair between Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and her de facto chief of staff, Corey Lewandowski, have been revealed by Washington insiders. The MAGA affair is common knowledge. A forthcoming book by NBC News reporter Julia Ainsley reveals, quoting anonymous DC sources, like everybody knows. Noem, who's 54, and Corey, who's 52, are both married to other people, but their rumored relationship has been previously described as the worst kept secret in DC, which is saying a lot.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of poorly kept secrets in the DC area.
In Ainsley's undue process, the inside story of Trump's mass deportation program, one Customs and Border Protection official who dealt with the pair regularly claimed they don't hide it, while a member of Trump's transition team bluntly told the author in January last year, "Oh yeah, they're still effing." You know what that means. The book will be published in May, but The Atlantic obtained early access to certain sections.
Okay. Oh yeah, they're still fucking. Okay. Wonderful. The book covers the tension the alleged affair has created in the White House, especially with Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. Miller was, quote, personally repelled. Okay, if you personally repel Stephen Miller, that's really bad. He was personally repelled by the alleged infidelity, according to Ainsley, and claims that the Trump apologist is a hardliner when it comes to monogamy in marriage. Okay. So he's grossed out by that's where he draws it, but he's a Trump supporter. Okay. Trump's known for his fidelity and monogamy. I mean, it's well known. The book also claims that when a Customs and Border Protection official asked Stephen Miller for his advice on the best way to deal with the Trumpified Department of Homeland Security, he said, stay away from Corey.
Ooh, wow.
Right.
The White House told the Daily Beast that Stephen has never had any conversations or opinions about these unsubstantiated rumors. The response also denied rumors of Miller's advice, adding, this is not true. Stephen has never told anyone to stay away from Corey. A spokesperson for the DHS told the Daily Beast it was a tired narrative.
Yeah, the worst kept secret in DC is just a tired narrative.
Yeah.
Quote, this department doesn't waste time with salacious, baseless gossip. We have actual work to do keeping the American homeland and its citizens safe. Something the last administration failed to do for 4 years, the statement read. Now, Noem married Brian Noem in 1992. They have 3 children. Lewandowski married Allison Hardy in 2005. They have 4 children.
Wow, what a wonderful blended family sounds like. Ainsley's book also claims Lewandowski wields serious influence over Noem in the workplace. That includes controlling what information crosses her desk, who gets to speak in meetings, which contractors get hired by DHS, and even what kind of detention facilities should hold migrants. The pair have denied any romantic involvement with Lewandowski, telling The Atlantic in October the speculation was bullshit.
Now, however, this week, These rumors resurfaced with a vengeance following revelations about an incident involving Noem and Lewandowski on a government jet in May of last year. The initial story claimed that Lewandowski entered the cockpit while it was in the air to hunt for a beloved heated blanket belonging to Kristi Noem that had been left behind after the pair switched aircraft when their original plane broke down. However, the Daily Mail later claimed it was actually a bag that Noem was distressed about losing, and that the blanket was a cover story. Quote, "This was never about a blanket," an insider with knowledge of the incident told the Mail. "The blanket was a cover story for what really happened. The whole thing was really about the bag she left behind." Lewandowski apparently discovered that at least 2 people were aware of the contents of Noem's bag, which, quote, "could be embarrassing." Oh, what's in the box?
God.
What's in the box?
I want to know, or do I? Oh, I don't.
Know. I do not want to know.
I do not want to know, but we could guess. Noem's husband, Brian, made a rare public appearance this week in the midst of the affair rumors.
Of course he did. They're like, send out the husband.
He had to pop out and, in a video posted to Noem's ex accounts, she states, "I'm just dropping off my husband who's headed back to South Dakota." Donald Trump is also believed to view the reported affair unfavorably. When asked about the whispers earlier this month, he told reporters, "I don't know about that. I haven't even heard that." Sure, Jan.
Sure, Jan. Sure.
Oh, my gosh.
I've heard about it, Donald.
I've heard about it. Like,
I've unfortunately had to hear about it.
And I didn't want it. That's not the thing that I wanted to hear about.
No. I could have lived my whole life. But I wanted to share this story because I thought it was interesting that the blanket story was bullshit. He fired that guy, by the way, and had to hire him back.
Yeah.
That Coast Guard pilot for not bringing the blanket on. But apparently it was a bag, and there was stuff in the bag that 2 people knew what was in the bag. Was it $50,000? Was it a Kava bag? Was it Tom Homan's bag?
Who knows? But what was in it, though? Oh, I don't know.
Did you see the photos of their jet where they have that giant king-size bed in the back?
No. I did not. Oh, my gosh. See, that's even more. Yeah, of course. Listen, she kills puppies. She absolutely cheats on her husband. Like, give me a like, you're killing a puppy, but you believe in monogamy? Give me a break, lady.
Oh, these people. Where do they find these people? Remember when Corey Lewandowski was hanging out with a guy named Brad Parscale? Remember the video?
Yes.
Of him drinking a beer, had fallen down outside of his house in Florida?
Yeah. Only the best people.
Oh.
Only the best people, AG. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I guess there is some good news, though, on the Alex Preddy, Renee Good front. The DA, Moriarty in Minneapolis, Hennepin County.
Yeah.
She's the DA there. She says they've closed the portal to get public evidence, and that they've turned it all over to what is it called? The Bureau of Crimes and Apprehension, the BCA, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But that is good. Like I said, accountability is going to be slow for this one, y'all.
But yeah, because the feds won't hand over any of the information.
Correct.
But we covered that a little bit on yesterday's Daily Beans podcast. So if you want more information on that, you can listen to that episode of the Daily Beans, which you probably already have. But just in case.
Just in case, check it out.
Just in case. We're nominated for a GLAAD award. We're going to be going to the GLAAD Media Awards this Thursday. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And man, we just appreciate all of our listeners so very much. Like we always say, we couldn't do this without you.
That's awesome.
We got a couple more quick stories. No Rudy and the Pillow Man updates. I still would love it if some listener were able to put together a theme and an intro to a buddy cop show called Rudy and the Pillow Man.
Rudy and the Pillow Man.
Even if it's like I don't know how you would end up putting that together, but that Photoshop video editing skills, if anybody could do that, that would be pretty amazing.
That-
Dun, 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 wah! And like freeze frame and Rudy falling down in the RNC.
with the that makeup and the hair dye running down his face, you know.
Oh, yeah, you got to put something in there about total 4 seasons total landscaping.
Four seasons, absolutely.
Yeah, remember that?
Funny.
It was so funny. They thought they booked at the Four Seasons Hotel, and it turned out to be a parking lot of a landscaping company between a crematorium and a dildo shop. Speaking about what was ever in Kristi Noem's bag.
By the way, that Four Seasons place, they are a gem to follow on social media.
They're
because
fun.
they took that. So check them out, the Four Seasons, on whatever platform that it is. But they definitely
total landscaping. Yeah, follow
total landscaping. They definitely capitalized on their attention that they got, and they are they're good. Too funny,
so
funny,
great.
man.
Oh,
What is the
man?
I just love laughing at just Rudy's
incompetence,
man. And that dye,
they're epic.
That picture will never get out of my face, so out of my head. I wish I could get rid of it. I got an image of Rudy seared in my brain forever, but at least it's an unflattering image of him.
Man. Operation Epic Drunk is what he's called. All right, everybody. As I said, we've got a couple more stories. But
is that Operation ED? Epic Drunk, though.
Yeah, just ask that one lady who's suing him.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. A bunch of nasty people. All right, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stick around. All right, everybody, welcome back. Again, perhaps mercifully, we don't have any updates on Rudy and the Pillow Man. But just as gross, we have some Ted Cruz news. This is from Reuters. President Donald Trump on Friday said he's considering nominating Republican Senator Ted Cruz, Timu Wolverine, for a future seat on the U.S. Supreme Court. Although Cruz last month said he was not interested. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Trump, introducing Cruz at a rally in Corpus Christi, called the Texas Republican an amazing guy, joking he would easily win confirmation from Democrats and Republicans in Congress alike because they wanted to get him out of the Senate. How's that for an endorsement? We hate you so much, we will vote to put you on the Supreme Court. That's the joke that Donald Trump thought would be great to make about his good friend.
Well, at least they know he hates him, though.
Everybody hates him so much.
Lion Ted. Trump hates him. Lion Ted. He talks about his wife. He talks about his father. Like, Jesus, man.
Didn't he say his dad killed JFK or something?
Yes,
I can't.
Yes. Like, what the heck, man? He's the only guy I know. He'll get 100% of the Democratic vote, 100% of Republican vote. They want to get him out of there. He's such a pain in the ass, but he's so good and talented, end quote. Is he?
Glowing recommendation.
The only thing that's accurate is he's a pain in the ass and they want him out of there.
Everybody hates him. He's a pain in the ass. I'm putting him on the Supreme Court. That's
yeah.
All right. Another quick story. This is from the Wall Street Journal. The Trump administration plans to abandon its defense of the president's executive orders that sanctioned several law firms, the big law firms. That's according to people familiar with the matter. This is breaking news from on Monday. The Justice Department, as soon as Monday, is expected to drop its appeals of 4 trial court rulings that struck down Trump's actions against the law firms Jenner & Block, Wilmer Hale, Perkins Coie, and Sussman Godfrey. And let this be a lesson.
Yeah.
Standing up to bullies is the way.
Yeah.
He's dropping these appeals.
Absolutely. Trump issued a string of executive orders last year against several law firms and individual lawyers that would have stripped security clearances, restricted their access to federal buildings, and directed agencies to end any federal contracts with the firms and their clients. The White House campaign sent a chill through the industry, and it was felt. Because a lot of people were surprised, and well, not even surprised, they were angry that it happened. That the law firms that did cooperate or did, do the president's wishes, they didn't stand up. Fear of the orders were also prompted other large firms to make deals with the president, promising nearly $1 billion in pro bono work for causes favored by the administration.
Yep. Now, in targeting the firms, Trump cited their connections to his political rivals. Remember, like one firm had Mueller's best friend's cousin working there in the 70s or something, like something so ridiculous. And criticized their diversity initiatives, DEI stuff, and pro bono work advocating for immigrants, transgender rights, voting protections, stuff like that. Several firms, of course, he hates Perkins Coie too, because they're the Hillary joint that put together Oppo on Trump. Yeah. Now, several firms sued to challenge the orders, arguing they were unconstitutional retaliation and abuse of executive power. The firms said the orders would be devastating to their business and that they risked losing lucrative clients who work with the federal government. The Trump administration argued the president has broad leeway to take action against law firms, particularly when it comes to their interactions with the federal government.
Yeah, an ideological mix of judges ruled against the administration, saying the executive orders undermine bedrock principles of the U.S. legal system. What a thought. Undermine bedrock principles, seeing them being done away with right now. In one decision, Judge Richard Leon, an appointee of former President George W. Bush, said blocking the sanctions was necessary to preserve an independent bar willing to tackle unpopular cases, however daunting.
Yeah. And I remember we talked about this when it went down. A lot of the firms were like, yeah, we'll go ahead and give you a bunch of money and free work. We'll whatever you say, sir, we'll rip our DEI initiatives out of our employee handbook or our policies and principles, our mission statements, our visions, whatever, for absolutely, sir, whatever. And then there were the ones like Wilmer Hale and Perkins Coie and others who stood up and said no and sued. And now he's dropping the cases. This is such an important lesson about punching back, about standing up to bullies, because that is otherwise now these other law firms are stuck doing $1 billion in pro bono BS work for this administration.
Yeah.
Which it's not helping because they're defying court orders left and right and getting now held in contempt and fined and possibly other sanctions for these lawyers.
These were the people that did not bend the knee. So shout out to them for standing strong. That's right. We will not,
and it pays off.
Yeah, we will not bend the knee and kiss the ring, if you will, which so many people have done. So shout out to those institutions, those people, those firms that
your lawyer Mark Zaid had his credentials.
And he sued him and he got him back. Yeah. I think he got him back too. So, so shout out to people like Mark and everybody that just keeps the fight going. Because that's how that's how you beat a bully. You stand up to him, you punch him in the mouth, you punch him back.
And these law firms who did capitulate because they were afraid they're going to lose business.
That's the word I was looking for. But I was talking, just trying to figure capitulate. Thank you, H.
They're going to lose more business because they failed to stand up.
Yeah. Like, how can we stand with you? You showed us your true colors. How can we stand with you?
Yeah, all that business is going to go to like Wilmer Hale and Perkins Coie and Sussman Godfrey and Jenner and Block, like all these firms who did stand up. And now they've won. So because Trump, the bully, gave up.
Yeah.
And is walking away from the appeals in these cases. So good news I'm glad. I'm proud of these law firms for standing up and doing the right thing. It's not always easy, but it is right. And doing the right thing can never be the wrong thing. Right?
Absolutely. No, 100%. Moral clarity. Follow your moral compass. That will always, no matter what happens, I feel like you will always be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I did what I know to be right. And, I have to tell myself a lot over these last couple years since January 6th. Just, you got to live with yourself and not be able to, I have to look myself in the mirror and say, damn, I don't want to have a what if, what if I did? Always do what you know to be true in your heart. So,
and we're still here. We're still here. We're still fighting. And folks like Michael Cohen, not anymore. Avenatti, bye. Yeah. Kanye, how'd that go?
Yeah.
It's just, and now we're looking at these law firms, always stand up, always do what's right. So, and that is why you need to vote for Harry Dunn.
June 23rd.
Because he doesn't run away from a fight. He always stands up to the bullies and he'll do it on our behalf. And he's 6'7". So it's like,
And the kids say 6, 7, you know.
Pretty good dude to have in your corner. I'm always like, I have no problem going out at night if Harry's there. Like,
that's right.
Everything's going to be fine. And that is exactly how I'll feel when you're in Congress too.
That's right. Well, thank you, my dear. I appreciate you. So good to have you back. I'm glad you had a good time doing whatever the hell you wanted to do.
I did. I want to do it forever. Do you guys just want to take over all the shows forever? That'd be fine with me. I'm kidding. I missed it.
Adjust the expectations of the audience, but
nah. Everybody was so grateful, and you did such a wonderful job. And
thank you.
I did miss it. Like, it was weird to not do the work, but I brought, me, I brought my microphone. I brought my camera stand. I brought my extra iPhone in case I wanted to do a Substack Live. I brought my little handheld microphones in case I wanted to make some content or whatever.
Nope.
And I set it all down on the desk, and I didn't touch it the whole week.
I'm so proud of you for that.
I only even cracked my laptop one time because I had to send an email about the awards that are coming up on Thursday. Either that or I have a pretty hot tip that I'm working on, and
that's cool.
So subscribe to MillerSheWrote.com if you want to see what happens there. It's free. But I didn't crack any of it. I didn't crack that laptop. I just read a book. Here's the thing, though. This is a funny thing. I just went to the gift shop right at the hotel, and I'm like looking at the books, like, give me some, easy, crunchy book I can chew through. And I picked a book and I started reading it. It's about a woman podcaster who's like my age, and I'm like, all right, okay, I guess I can't get
you can't get away from it too. That's awesome.
But it was a good book. I think it's called "I Have Some Questions for You" by Makkai, Makkai is her name. It's a good book, very good. I ate it up. It was like 350 pages. Took me a week to read.
Good.
So I'll do it again in a year. So
very
mark
good.
your calendars, everybody.
Yep.
I'll do it again in a year. I want to do this every year where I don't work for a week, because it had been years and years. Every vacation I've taken since probably 2017 has been a working vacation. So it was nice to. I want to do this. I do want to do this at least once a year. So thank you for taking over. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks to our.
Hopefully in a year I'll be a congressman and I'll come back and guest host a show as Congressman Dunn.
There you go. I like it. I like it very much. Yeah, we can beat Ted Cruz's podcast.
Yes, we can. Ted Cruz, what a scumbag.
He'll still have a podcast when he's on the Supreme Court.
When he's on the Supreme Court. He absolutely would. He is that guy. So you can't do that. Oh, it's just my podcast. It's fine.
Okay, yeah. SCOTUS. Timu Wolverine Supreme Court Supreme. It's called. I've decided.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
He can do it live from Cancun. Can I give my Supreme Court arguments on Zoom from Cancun? Can I do that?
You know he would try.
All right, everybody. We'll see you. Actually, Harry's going to cover for me on Thursday. We're going to be at the GLAAD Awards. He's going to cover for the bonus episode. Maybe we can get a cool guest to come in. We'll see.
Let's see what we can do.
And we'll be back next week. And thanks for listening. I've been Allison Gill.
Harry Dunn. Thanks, y'all.
Cleanup on Aisle 45 is written, researched, and produced by Allison Gill, with editing by Molly Hockey. Our art and logo design are by Joelle Reeder and Moxie Design Studios, and our music is composed and performed by Adam Orr. Cleanup on Aisle 45 is a proud member of the MSW Media Network, a collection of creator-owned podcasts dedicated to news, politics, and justice. For more information, visit mswmedia.com. MSW Media.